Hello, I'm Caitlin, and welcome back to The Imperfect Homemaker. Today we're going to talk about body image in motherhood. So just a little bit of a backstory. I grew up incredibly slender. I was the kid that mothers were concerned I wasn't eating enough. I ate a ton. I was healthy. It's just genetically, and I led a very, very active lifestyle, ate really healthy. I was always extremely slender, knobby knees type deal. Up until my teenage years when I did fill out a little bit, but even then I had a board shape. Didn't have hips, didn't have boobs. It was just straight up and down. That's just what it was. And that was great. That's the body I knew. And then I got pregnant and I was so excited to see my body change and amazing things happened. I developed the belly, my hips got wider, and it was this wonderful process of watching my baby grow. And it was so wonderful, and I put on a lot of weight, about 50-ish pounds with her. No gestational diabetes. That's about what my mother put on with all of her pregnancies. So I kind of expected that. And then toward the end of the pregnancy, 8.5, 9 months, I saw some pictures of myself and I was not entirely thrilled with what I saw. I actually was quite discouraged at how my body looked. Not the belly part. The belly part I loved, but everything else, part of it was she was born late July. So we're talking about it's getting hot in the summer and it's okay. Did you go bump? I experienced a lot of swelling with her. But so last month, my feet were just sausages. They were uncomfortable. And so that's when I first dealt a little bit with this uncomfortable realization that not just in the motherly ways, the belly, the breasts, but all over my body had changed quite a bit. And then she was born and I was just so happy that my body could support her and provide for her, and my belly was there for a little bit, which I knew. I knew I would look about 6 to 7 months pregnant after birth. Honestly, I was amazed at how much I shrunk within a half an hour of giving birth. To me, that was mind-blowing. I had no idea I would shrink that much so soon. A lot of my swelling went away literally within the first 20 minutes of having her. It was wonderful. But then I only lost 11 pounds, probably, of that 50 pounds. And after I'd recovered from birth, the bleeding had stopped and all that, then it was this process of okay, I would like to work at least toward getting back to close to my normal size. I knew that my body would be different. I didn't have a goal of getting back to my pre-baby weight, mainly because I didn't have a very womanly figure before, and now I have a more womanly figure, so I knew that there's some weight involved in that. When your body changes, there's a weight change that goes along with it. But I had, even in counting for about an extra 10 pounds of just body change, I still had another 30 pounds to go by the time, I had finished healing from her. I actually put some weight back on since the 6-week appointment where I got checked and all that. And I struggled with that a lot. I'm someone who's blessed that breastfeeding, as far as milk production, is very easy for me. So I was just so thankful that I could provide for her, and she is still, the majority of her food is breast milk. And she is almost 11 months. By the time you see this, she'll be 11 months old. She is who you hear. She's a talker. But in order to get things filmed, this is how it has to be. And so there was that struggle. I would talk to these women and my midwife and my mom and all that, and they're just, a lot of them were oh, you look great, which I appreciated. My husband has no issue with how I look. But I didn't like it, and I was okay most of the time, but then I would look at pictures of myself, and that's when I would have this big discontentment. And the battle that I struggle with is how much of it is I just need to let go of vanity. Shh. My body is serving a function right now, And that function is supporting a child. And it doesn't have to look pretty all the time while that happens. And how much of it is a health issue? You know, like, I don't want to put on 30 pounds with each pregnancy. Because we're planning on having a large family. Potentially into the double digits. That could be disastrous. I don't know, you won't put on that much with each pregnancy. But you can see where I struggled. How much of it is a health thing and how much of it is just a vanity thing, and where do I draw the line? I tried eating really, really clean with her while I was breastfeeding at about 7-8 months. Like, very little sugar, basically plants, meat, very little grains, to try to lose some of the weight while still making sure that I was eating enough to support her, because I never wanted my desire to lose weight to compromise feeding her. I never wanted my vanity to take away the food from my daughter. And so that's my struggle. What do you do? How do you deal with it? I know there's women, and I have watched them online and in real life, who I swear they have the baby and the weight just melts off and they're back to their original size and they have energy and they look so cute. And I'm like, how? How are you this magical unicorn that this works for you? Well, I'm over here, thankfully, breastfeeding my child, which again, I'm very thankful for. And if this is the cost of being able to feed my child, then I am willing to pay it. I would prefer this, not necessarily the cost, but if this is what it has to be, I'm okay with that. I see these women who the weight just melts off. They're like, oh, you just breastfeed and it all comes right off. And I'm like, how? And then I see women who can't breastfeed or can't keep up with breastfeeding for more than a couple months, and then they still have, they're no longer breastfeeding, their child's on formula, and they still have the weight issue. And so I know I'm by no means like the worst off or anything. This is by no means me fishing for compliments. It's just me being perfectly honest and telling people it's okay to struggle with how you look after you have a child. Your body changes so much, especially if you did have a very womanly figure beforehand. Your body changes so much, and everything in your world changes so much. It's okay to struggle with that and know how to deal with that. I got pregnant intentionally the first cycle after we got married. So I had like 2-ish months after we got married that I could still fit into most of my normal clothes, and some of my normal clothes fit almost halfway through the pregnancy. But from that point on, I had to start dressing differently because my body was changing, and now I have a changing body still, and I'm trying to dress modestly because modesty is very important to me, but now I have all these curves that I'm trying to cover, but also still maintain easy access to my breasts to breastfeed, which is so difficult to not have anything low cut and still be able to access things easily for breastfeeding. I have sewn several nursing outfits that I will show you at some point here that I absolutely love. Well, some of them I absolutely love, some of them I wear because they're just highly functional, and I plan on remaking them into something that I love more. I've learned a lot. This is my struggle. What is yours? How have you dealt with it? Do you have any tips for things to tell yourself on the days that you're really struggling with how you look? Thank you for watching. If you're struggling with this or any other body image issues, just know I understand. I feel your pain. I hope and pray that you will get through this and come out on the other side and be happy with your body. Have a wonderful day. Bye.